Hi, it's Jo Karen Hudson. This is the last section, section 15.5, in the last module. I know you're excited. Example 1. We're going to be doing application problems. Miss Hudson wants to make a rectangular garden in her yard. The length of the garden will be 5 feet more than the width, and the area is 66 feet squared or square feet. Find the length and the width of the garden. So let's draw a picture of the garden. We have a width and we have a length that is 5 feet more than the width, or it's W plus 5. Now the formula for the area of a rectangle, length times width, is equal to area. And so now I'm going to write down here length, width, and area. I know the width is W, the length is W plus 5, and the area is 66 square feet, or feet squared. So the length times the width, W plus 5 times W, is equal to 66. And I can distribute from the left or from the right. I'm going to distribute from the right this time, or I can just change it around if I want to change the order. W times W is W squared plus 5W is equal to 66. And then I notice it's a quadratic equation. It has the squared in it. So I'm going to need to subtract 66 from both sides so that I'll have 0 on one side and everything else on the other. So that I will have W squared plus 5W minus 66 is equal to 0. And now my A is the coefficient of the squared term. It's 1. My B is 5. And my C is negative 66. Now, there are 3 ways that you can solve quadratic equations. Quadratic equations, you can solve them by factoring, a lot of times, by factoring. You can solve them by using the quadratic formula. We also have a quad program, Program Quad, and that's what I'm going to show you in this section, how to use Program Quad. When you're using Program Quad, you'll need to have the programs in your calculator. Take your calculator out. Hopefully your instructor has already programmed these programs in your calculator. If they have not, you'll need to ask for it. Press Program in the center of the calculator, cursor down until you get to Quad. They are in alphabetical order. There's Quad. Press Enter. And then I'm going to press Enter again, and it will ask me what A, B, and C are. And A is 1, B is 5, C is negative 66. So I come up with, and I'm going to drag it down so I can use it. I came up with W is equal to 6 and W is equal to negative 11 from the W squared plus 5W minus 66 is equal to 0. And we know that width cannot be negative, so I'm going to cross that out, and I will say that the width is 6 feet. So I'm going to come back up and look at this. The width is 6 feet. So 6 plus 5 would give us 11 feet. And I know that this is correct because it will check 6 feet and 11 feet. 6 feet times 11 feet is equal to 66 feet squared. And that is what I wanted. I wanted the width to be 66 feet squared. That will check. Continuing on with example 2, the volume of a microwave is 1980 inches cubed, or cubic inches. The volume is 1980 inches cubed, or cubic inches. The height of the microwave is 10 inches. The length and the width, let's see, the length is 7 inches more than the width. So I'm going to let the width be W, and then the length would be W plus 7. Now I know that length times width times height is equal to volume. So the length, which is W plus 7, times the width, which is W, times the height, which is 10, would equal to the volume of 1980. So now I will have 10 times W is 10W, so I'm just going to write the 10W in the front, and then W plus 7 is equal to 1980. So now I'm going to distribute that 10W, and I will have 10W squared plus 70W is equal to 1980. And then I notice that I have squared, so it is a quadratic equation. So I'm going to move everything to one side and 0 on the other side. So I'm going to subtract the 1980 off both sides. 10W squared plus 70W minus 1980 is equal to 0. Now, if I were factoring this, I would certainly want to divide everything by 10, and I might just give the calculator a break and go ahead and do that so the numbers will be smaller and it won't have to think so hard. Divide everything by 10 just to keep the numbers a little smaller. And I'll have W squared plus 7W minus 198 is equal to 0. And then A, B, and C can be found. A is 1, B is 7, and C is negative 198. Now this one might take you a little while to factor, but we're going to use the quad program on this. Program, cursor all the way down to quad. Press enter again, and then type in your A, B, and C. A is 1, B is 7, C is negative 198. And you will see that that W will equal to 11 or negative 18. W is equal to 11 or W is equal to negative 18, but we know that width cannot be negative, so the width is actually 11 inches. So let's go back up. The width is 11 inches. 11 inches, which means the length is 11 plus 7, which is 18 inches, and we know what the height is. Now it only asks for the width and the length, so we have the width and we have the length, but I want to use those to check it. Length times width times height is equal to volume, so we know that 10 or 18 is the length, times the width, which is 11, times the height, which is 10, is equal to 1980. So let's check and see if that's true. I'm going to grab my calculator, and I'm going to check and see if 18 times 11 times 10 is 1980. And it is. So this will check for you. And so I have my answer there. This last example, a 10-foot long ladder is leaning against a building. My building is over here. Here's the building. And here is the 10-foot long ladder. 10-foot long ladder. The height of the ladder on the building. They're talking about this height on the building. The height of the ladder on the building is 2 feet greater than the distance on the ground from the building to the foot of the ladder. So if I let that distance from the building to the foot of the ladder be x, then this one is going to be x plus 2. And I will have to use the Pythagorean theorem because this is a right triangle. Pythagorean theorem. Which says that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So now I'm going to have x squared plus x plus 2 squared is equal to 10 squared. Or I'll have x squared plus, let's see, I'll need to FOIL this out. X plus 2 times x plus 2 is equal to 100. Or I'll have x squared, and when I fold the first, I'll have plus x squared. The outside is plus 2x. The inside is plus 2x. The last is plus 4 is equal to 100. When I add x squared and x squared, I get 2x squared plus 2x and 2x is 4x plus 4 is equal to 100. Now I still need to get the 100 on the other side, so I'm going to subtract the 100 off both sides. And I will have 2x squared plus 4x minus 96 is equal to 0. I can actually divide all of those by 2 to keep it a little smaller. And this would be particularly helpful if you were going to try to factor it. X squared plus 2x minus 48 is equal to 0. This would be easy to factor, but I'm going to go ahead and use quad. A, B, and C. A is 1, B is 2, and C is negative 48. So I'm going to grab my calculator, program, cursor all the way till you get down to quad. Remember that they're alphabetical. There it is. Okay, I've got it on quad. I'm going to press enter, and then I'll fill in A is 1, and B is 2, and C is negative 48. And I will find out that X can be equal to 6 and negative 8. Slide that down there where I can see it. X is equal to 6 and X is equal to negative 8. And that was feet. And X is equal to negative 8 feet. But we can't have distance be negative, so I'm going to cross this one out. And my X will be equal to 6 feet. Now let's make sure we've answered the question. Find the distance on the ground from the building to the ladder. X is 6. We have answered the question, but I want to check it and see if it comes out. If this one is 6, then 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2 would give us 8. This one would be 8 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, and 10 feet. Let's check and see if that works. 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to 10 squared. Would give us 36 plus 64 equals 100, or 100 is equal to 100. It does check, so we know we have it correct. But the answer to this, the distance on the ground from the building to the ladder, is your 6 feet. This is Jo Karen Hudson working with you today on this final exercise. You'll need to do the homework on section 15.5. You'll need to do the quiz on section 15.5. I've enjoyed working with you so much. I hope you've learned a lot. Thank you and have a wonderful day.